important updates on the M100 today. We started tearing down the front suspension. Notable things include the strut, which is removed, and that's actually more complicated than the internet likes to make it seem. We have our big brake tied up, our big calipers tied up, the axles tied up, and we got the ball joint undone, the track rod undone. So where we're at now is I wanted to take the suspension out so that I had more access to do the axle. The only thing I didn't realize is the suspension is, you have to take that bolt out to get the raft, this big aluminum thing out. And that bolt is kind of blocked by the axle. So you kind of have to take the axle out first. Conventional wisdom says if you're removing the axle and draining your transmission fluid, you should have the fill plug undone before you have the drain undone, before you drain fluid. Well, of course, the fill plug for this transmission is the speedometer cable, which on American market cars is barely accessible because we have air conditioning in our cars, whereas in the UK, they mostly didn't. So there's an alternative fill plug, and that's back there, and it's shaped like the letter D. D for dumb. So the goal is to try and take that off, and I will place it with a hex. And that way, it's a lot easier to fill the transmission in the next, I don't know, 15, 20 years for whoever the hell has this car. But it's going to be a gamble because we have to drain the fluid before we're able to get to that D plug. So wish us luck. Okay, we have movement here. The D plug is off. Looks like this, and it actually had a little rubber O-ring on it. This is actually the drain plug, and there's not a crush gasket per se, but like a rubber O-ring, which is 3/4 by 1 by 1/8 is the size that we've picked out for a new one. So what we're gonna do is actually take the original drain plug and move it to the fill location, because the plug that I bought online, while it has a smaller hex, it actually has a magnet on the end. And this is a Subaru part I bought that has the same thread. So we'll just put a new O-ring here on each of these. This will be our new drain plug, and this will be our new fill plug. And you can see the O-ring is needed because there's a taper, small taper in these, in both the fill and the drain holes. So it's not a crush gasket like you use on an engine drain plug. It's looks like it's an O-ring. So that is a fun development. Productive day here. Both rafts are off, the front suspension, the subframes. There's the new axles, there are the old axles. Slide hammer came in, clutch. Got our new drain plugs ready to go. So now we gotta build these things back up. We'll get it all back.